What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Making Podcasts Great Again. I am your tech stuff guy, Jay Nog, and I'm not going to say former president because I don't want to argue with him, but the
Also not
president
true.
of the United States of America, Mr. Donald J. Trump. Mr. President, how are you?
We're doing great. We're doing great. I totally destroyed Mitch McConnell with a great letter last week, so he won't be messing with me much more. And we announced that Ivanka will not be running for the Senate, taking over Marco Rubio's spot, little Marco, but wink, wink, we can change our mind. And most importantly, the country has gone to hell. We're about to hit 500,000 COVID deaths under Joe Biden, and it's a sad thing for our country. I told you it would
Um,
happen, but it's a sad thing.
Mr. President, you know Joe Biden's only been president officially since January.
Right. And imagine if he had been president for 4 years, we'd have, like, at that rate, I don't know, 4 billion deaths.
So you're not responsible for any COVID deaths?
No, in fact, I'm responsible for a COVID life. I had COVID and I fought it off and I'm still alive. So actually, I'm responsible for what we call COVID life. Good magazine.
Sounds like
And
an album
cereal.
also.
Also a cereal. I don't know about an album.
No, it has Thug Life, COVID Life. No, all right, whatever. Um, Mr. President, we have a special guest today. Um, I don't know if you're friends with him or not. I don't know if you've been on his show before.
He's
Um,
been on it. I think a couple of years ago, he filled in. We had a tech stuff guy that we got rid of. He was a total loser.
that's
And I
right.
remember he filled in and did a strong, for an you know what? For any American, okay? We don't even have to classify it. For any American, okay? It's called equality. He did a tremendous job. We were very happy with him.
So let me welcome. You know him. It's Rod from the Black Guy Who Tips podcast. Rod, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Very flattered. Very honored to be here again. And this last week of Black History Month. Thank you for thinking of me, Mr. Trump.
I know that's nobody did more for African Americans than me. And I'm just curious, have you been on Sleepy Joe Biden's podcast yet?
He has not invited me to his.
Well, and you see, everybody, oh, Sleepy Joe, he's such a friend. He's no friend. He's no friend.
He's had 100% less Black people on his podcast than you have.
It's nobody. Thank you for bringing that up. Nobody talks about the media. They don't want to talk about how, Joe Biden's podcast is basically, like whites only. I think that's what, I don't even know if Kokomo Harris has done his podcast, and that's his vice president.
That's the name of the podcast, Whites Only.
Might be. It's not a bad name.
So you like that name? You want to switch our podcast to Whites Only?
Maybe we'll wait till Rod's not here. We'll
discuss it
off the record.
I think Rod's people would say we don't want to spill the tea. I think spill the Trump.
They don't want to. That's true.
So the first piece of news we're going to get to tonight is this crazy blizzard storm that happened in Texas. People died. People's houses are completely ruined. It was really horrible. Electricity was lost for, I think, 4 or 5 days. People didn't have heat. People were actually, I think, living in some stores for some days.
This is what you get when you have windmills, okay? Because not only do the windmills not work, they make it even colder with all the wind that they create.
That's not how they work. The wind is supposed to move the turbines, which helps out with electricity, but they just weren't prepared.
There were turbines. There were turbines there, so this was a terrorist attack.
No, it's called wind turbines. It's not turbines. Turbine is what you wear in your head, and the wind turbines are like the windmills that you're talking about.
We'll see.
That's what it is. We won't have to
say. Those windmills only account for 10% of the power. What about the other 90% of the power in Texas that also went out?
Well, they were saying, I think
excuse me, I don't think he was talking to the tech stuff guy. Okay.
Okay.
I think that
I think you need a new tech stuff guy. I mean, it's just me. You feel a little mouthy to you, or it's just my
it,
just adding too much to it?
no, I think we've had, the agency that sends over these tech stuff people, they seem to always treat, rule one, be rude to the president seems to be sort of like the main lesson that they leave the office with. But no, I think the other 90% were probably just following the lead of the windmills. And, the natural gas is, it's a nice energy, it's natural. And it sees the windmill and says, well, sir, I guess I'll follow you, windmill. You're a big, tall guy like President Trump, so we'll follow you. What's the worst could happen? And the worst that could happen is we lose our country.
We didn't lose our country. It's just, the state, it was a tragedy for a good almost a week where everything fell apart there. How would you have dealt with the situation, Mr. President, if you were in Ted
Things
Cruz's
Fall
shoes?
Apart, by the way, Things Fall Apart was a famous book by I think just an African. I don't think it was an African American.
That's true. It was also a famous album by the Roots, who are African Americans.
Questlove. I don't know if I love him. I call him Quest-like.
Right, same. Now, I did think Ted Cruz messed up because, and I think Trump would have definitely done a better job, because once he got on the plane to leave to Cancun, he came back. And I don't think President Trump comes back in that situation. I think he's already on the beach, and there's no need to come back.
You know what happens when the fake news? You're great guest, by the way. Tech stuff guy doesn't give me this kind of feedback. I would have gotten to Mexico. Well, I wouldn't have gone to Mexico, but let's say hypothetically, I'm going to a great resort in Mexico, and I hear the fake news criticizing me. I look to my wife, Mesopotamia, and I say, darling, extend the vacation another 2 weeks. We're not going back for a while. That'll show the fake news. But Ted Cruz is very weak, and he showed how weak he is. I think we would have been better off. For Black History Month, I would have preferred if we had Terry Crews instead of Ted Cruz. That would have gone a lot better.
He would have liked to be there too.
Very strong guy, Terry Crews.
Yes.
He is jacked. But Mr. President, so you're telling me if you were in charge of Texas and your state went under from Mother Nature just freezing your whole entire state, you would, if you did leave and people talked bad about you that you left, you would say, you know what? I'm going to stay even longer. Is that how you would deal with your people? I don't understand that.
Okay. First of all, I wouldn't have gone. So let's get the first part is I wouldn't have left. But if I was leaving for good reason, for family, or for, some appropriate reason, and then the fake news wants to say, oh, Mr. Trump, sir, you should be staying. And then I'd go, now you're going to pay for being rude. I'm staying for the month.
So if they're rude, they pay with lives. Is that how it goes?
Well, you know what? Maybe all lives don't matter. I think we can agree with that. I think we can have a meeting here because, there's all lives matter, there's Black Lives Matter, and I'm sort of being a compromise person saying not all lives matter. So that brings me closer to Black Lives Matter, I think.
How do you figure out that wormhole that
all lives matter is 100%.
Right.
Black Lives Matter is the black percent.
Yes.
And between the black percent and the 100%, you could have agreements saying, not all lives matter could be, you could argue that that's exactly the same as Black Lives Matter. In fact, it's just another way to say it. I think it's another way to say it.
Have you just coined a new phrase for the movement?
The Not All Lives movement?
The Not All Lives movement?
It's a longer T-shirt slogan, but I mean, it could theoretically work.
I mean, if you saw the Capitol, the patriotic, peaceful protests at the Capitol, I think we prove that certainly not all blue lives matter. So I think we're really coming to a sort of agreement.
That's a good point.
So you think Ted Cruz is a cuck for coming back from Mexico?
I don't. I think Ted Cruz was a cuck a long time before this trip.
You
Also,
think he's weak though?
Why didn't he take his dog?
You know, can we go off the podcast record?
1 second. We're off.
Thank you. I don't like animals. I don't like most people. But even I watched what Ted Cruz did and sort of questioned maybe he really is a serial killer. Like, there's something off with this guy. I mean, really off. And I've got my issues, but this guy, I think we're looking at a thing where one day he's just going to walk into the Senate with like dynamite strapped to his chest. I think this guy is a total loose cannon, and he's so weird. Who goes to a job where everybody hates you? This guy is the most hated person in government, and he just keeps showing up. And then he leaves it. I don't know.
I mean, you called his wife ugly, and he still voted to not overturn the election, to try to overturn the election.
As your people would say, facts.
Yeah. Well, if we stay off the record for just a little bit longer?
Okay.
I voted 270 times in the election. Okay.
I knew it. I knew you had. I knew you did. I knew you did. Like,
yeah,
if
you were right.
And the truth is, since we're still off the record,
yeah,
just like I didn't like Crooked Hillary, but I know that she's a very smart person. She's incredibly smart. So there's a level of respecting your enemy.
Mhm.
So when I say the election was stolen, that's not me necessarily saying I think the thieves are bad people. I think there's, so when I see you voting 270 times, I'm not mad at you. Okay.
Right.
That's like in a game. If you can kick a guy in the nuts and the ref doesn't see it, you know what I call that? I call that a good play. It's called a good play. Now, if the ref, now I'm mad at the ref. If the ref doesn't call it, that's who I'm mad at.
Yeah.
So if you voted 270 times, I think, of course, it's a disgrace, but it's a respectful, it's called a respectful disgrace.
And I voted so many times because I was scared of you. It was out of respect for you and your presidency that I said, if I have to go to jail for this.
Federal crime game, recognized federal crime game.
That's what it is, man. So, don't hate on the player, hate on the federal crime game.
Well, look at that. Look at that. That's called bipartisanship. Tech stuff guy. Take some notes.
Can we go? Well, let's stay off the record for one more minute. I have a question
No,
for
excuse
Rod.
me. We're going back on the right. You don't get to call. Rod can call, ask for more time. You don't get to. We're on the record.
Okay. All right. Well,
you don't get to make off the record calls.
All right, we're back on the record. So, is there anything else you have to say about Ted Cruz, Mr. President? Besides him being creepy and possibly go into Congress or Senate with dynamite strapped to his chest.
When do his daughters turn 18?
Oh, way too long from now.
Okay, well then I'm going to be respectful, and I'm not going to call them hideously ugly, because a gentleman wouldn't do that to children.
But his wife is still over 18.
And we're very on the record that she is how do I put this nicely as a Christian? A disgusting sack of shit.
Very respectful.
Very Christian. Mr. President, I know this might be a sensitive topic, but Twitter. After you have been kicked off Twitter, the stock has been surging. Why?
Probably GameStop bros.
So it's GameStop people who are doing everything?
Well, they want to make me look bad. Okay, I've been out of office allegedly for what? A month? Less than a month? It's about a month. We'll see where it is in a year. I am predicting that the website will no longer exist in a year without Trump.
You're saying Twitter is going to fail without you.
Correct.
Is there anything you want me to tweet for you right now? Because I can still tweet.
Well, it's interesting because you're an African American. Could you just tweet the N-word?
Got you, bro. And send.
Thank you.
Oh wait, plural or singular?
Singular, but with a hard R.
All right.
Caps or no caps?
Oh, we gotta go all caps. If you're gonna say it, you say it all caps.
All right. Just send it, buddy.
Thank you very much. It's called Great Cooperation. Tech stuff guy, you should try it.
That is fantastic cooperation. So you think it's an inside job and just BS's jealousy? That's why the Twitter stock is surging because of the GameStop people.
It may not be the GameStop people, but it's the same sort of philosophy of, we're going to boost this up to make it look. It's going to fail. It's going to fail so strongly.
Well,
I bought some Twitter stock when as soon as they said you were gone, I was all in. And then when they said it was permanent, I just went ahead and added some more money to it. So, I'm part of the reason the stock's going up.
Well, once again, I can't totally blame you. I think once again, we're not hating the player. We're hating the game.
So you give him respect for.
No, I hate the game because he didn't endorse me when all those other rappers were endorsing me.
Yeah, I
what
mean,
the hell has the game done that he can't endorse me?
That's the thing. They gave away their votes too cheaply, for my opinion. I mean, of course, Lil Wayne had a part he was trying to get because he had a federal crime. I understand him, but Ice Cube didn't get anything out of it. 50 Cent didn't get anything. So I feel like if I would have thrown more money my way, maybe maybe you get reelected.
Well, 2024, we're going to be doing a lot of work through Black Twitter and Black podcasts. So,
all right, I'll be on the lookout for a check.
But not Jamel Hill. I don't like her.
Okay, you don't have to do that podcast. A lot of action coming after you, Mr. President, but I don't want to get you down tonight. This might get you down. Biden right now is polling better than you were when you became president, and his I didn't want to make you upset about that, but it's just news. He's polling better than you.
No, in certain polls,
what do you think
in probably the same polls that said Hillary Clinton was going to beat me in president. But I can tell you on the OAN evangelical date rapist poll, I am at 92.
What poll is that?
OAN, our great channel, OAN, yes. Evangelical date rapist poll has me at 92% approval.
Now, that's date rapists are the people who are doing the poll. So all date rapists vote in that poll.
I think it's both. I think they're both conducting the poll, and thank you, Rod. Thank you. See, notice that tech stuff left off the very powerful evangelical. Okay, these are great Christians.
I'm sorry. So the evangelical date rapists, my apology. Are they the only ones who are voting, or the victims voting?
Oh no, everybody's voting that listens to OAN, but it's it's the organization is the OAN date rapists. They conduct the poll. Like the New York Times poll. It's the New York Times that do the poll. So it's the OAN evangelical date rapist poll. Very reliable, has a very strong reputation.
I've never heard them do any other.
Well, one of the great things about it is when they say to people, do you support President Trump? Yes or no? They rarely take no for an answer. So we get a very high positive return on the polling. So
that's genius, because you definitely don't want to tell a date rapist no. That is a genius way to poll.
Evangelical
date
rapist. Okay, evangelical, strong Christians.
Have they done any other polls that we're familiar with?
Sort of new. They're using, sort of a newer technique. They're sort of the hot new polling place on the market. So they might be back with more polling later.
They're gonna be like the new Pew Research Center.
Exactly.
Oh man, the evangelical.
No, also, how are we sure that the Joe Biden polls are even legitimate?
Thank you, Rod.
Mr. Trump may have been up in those polls early, and then when the mail-in poll votes start coming in, all of a sudden out of nowhere, now he's down. And it's like, how did Joe Biden get all these extra votes overnight with nobody able to oversee who was putting the votes in? So I don't know. I would challenge the results of those polls.
Well, I know where 270 of those votes came from.
Well, hey, that was off the record.
Unbelievable. I mean, you edit that because that is a violation, and now you're fired. This is your last episode.
Now, Mr. President,
it's called podcast guest confidentiality.
You're right. My apologies. We haven't gone off the podcast record in a very long time, so but I will edit that out. I promise.
Thank you.
Mr. President, does the name Jessica Watkins have a ring? She was the military who stormed the Capitol.
Is she the one that got shot jumping through the window? Because that was hilarious.
No,
that was like an adult version of America's Home Video. Remember Funniest Home Videos? It was like they were like, we want to get in. And then she just jumped, and all of a sudden she wasn't jumping anymore. And I couldn't stop laughing.
No, she's still alive. This one. But she said, now I don't.
Rest in power, though. Rest in power, of course. To my great supporter.
This is what she said when she stormed the Capitol or peaceful protests at the Capitol.
We stand a treason queen.
She said she met.
Excuse me, tech stuff. Did I say that right, Rod?
You're excused, and yes.
Thank you. Okay, continue tech stuff.
She said she met with Secret Service, which would then imply that you were in on this storming of the Capitol. What do you have to say about this?
It sounds like a fake story, and I don't know everybody in the Secret Service. It's a very large group of people. They handle a lot of things. I don't think it sounds true, but I don't know who this woman was. Like you said, Jessica Watkins?
Yes.
Yeah, that sounds like an African-American woman to me. I can tell you I would have never met with her.
Mm-hmm.
She's a white woman.
No, but I'm saying, yes, but I'm saying that name sounds, it sounds like she's like a member of the group En Vogue. And, I would have never met with her.
Okay. I mean, she could be some Looney Tune who's just trying to get attention and, not get in trouble for storming the Capitol.
Is she attractive?
No.
No.
I saw her.
No. She's not your type.
Okay, well, no, then I would have definitely not my type, plus a name that could be African American. This doesn't even make sense that I would meet with this person on any level.
Also, how secret is this service if we all know that this happened? That doesn't seem very secret at all to me.
So you were a poor Secret Service was working under you, Mr. President, because they weren't keeping secrets.
All I know is I think Rod should have defended me at the impeachment. I mean, we got the acquittal, but I think we would have had a much stronger acquittal if Rod was defending me.
Well, I've been saying for years at this point that I think I could do the same job as your lawyers. Like, I think that you're getting some shoddy. I didn't go to law school, but I feel like you're getting some shoddy attorneyship going out there, and I could do the same thing as those guys, and especially if they're not even getting paid.
Well, didn't Jay-Z say, I'm not a lawyer, but I know, didn't he have some?
Yeah, I'm not a lawyer, but I know a little bit.
Enough that you won't confiscate my shit or something like that?
Search my shit, that is correct.
Okay, well, you see, I did that. I'll admit, I listened to a little Jay-Z when I was trying to make Kanye jealous. So, but we patched things up.
Speaking of Kanye, I know you and the missus are still married, but do you know Kim and Kanye are getting a divorce? Have you heard this?
I have. I've reached out to both of them. Uh, it's a tough thing as a Christian who loves marriage. I told Kanye though, don't be one of these haters that thinks, oh, I love marriage, so I have to have only one marriage. I always say that's so stupid. If you love cars, okay? If you love cars, what do? You buy one car for the rest of your life. No, you
No.
don't do that. You're like Jay Leno or Jerry Seinfeld. You have a whole garage of cars. And I'm so pro marriage. I believe it's wrong to only have one marriage. So, as you know, I'm going to soon be working on a fourth marriage once I mail um, melanoma back to our country. And I told Kanye, this is actually a good thing. As a strong Christian who loves women and marriage, now you get to start building your collection of wives. So I told him it's tough now. It's tough because, I know firsthand how talented Kim is. Okay. You think I was going to free African Americans from prison without sort of top tier quality in return? Um, but I think they'll both be okay. I think if Kim, I'm going to respect Kim's boundaries, but a week or two after the divorce, I will, invite her to my reality show, The
You-
Trump Bachelor,
you're gonna do a version of The Bachelor?
except richer and more handsome and with a lot more beautiful women.
Did you hear the host of The Bachelor? He left The Bachelor because he defended a contestant's racist comments or photos.
No, I know. I interviewed him today at Mar-a-Lago to be my deputy press secretary because he's got such great sort of on-air talent.
What was your conversation with Kim like? You said you spoke to both of them. You said you told Kanye, are their marriages. What did you say to Kim?
I said, Kim, just because you're not married to Kanye anymore doesn't mean that you have to stop trying to free African Americans with me. We can still work together. The deal remains the same.
Would you really get involved? Let's say you you and Melania ended your relationship, and let's say Kim really wanted to get involved with you. Would you really get involved in such a relationship like that, where literally you're under the microscope as it is, being with a Kardashian? I mean, you would not be able to breathe. You would get involved in a relationship like that?
Okay, that's disrespectful, and I'm
Why is
disappointed
that
in you.
disrespectful?
Excuse
I'm
me,
having your back.
excuse me,
That oh, yeah.
excuse me. For you to suggest that the Kardashians compared to me, that's minor leagues. Oh yes, they've ruined a couple of NBA basketball players. Okay, you know what COVID did? It ruined thousands of African American families. Okay, so you
I'm
think
not
I'm scared of Kim? You think I'm scared of the Kardashians who can? Oh, look, Tristan Thompson is on. Oh, he's being shamed in the media. Oh, Lamar Odom has a drug problem. Oh, James Harden grew his beard. No, that's what they're capable of. Okay, I'm capable of. They're going to be. I think America would support me and Kim together, and I'll tell you why. Incredible ratings, the most powerful power couple I think we've ever seen. And if they try to cross me and ruin me, they'll realize I don't have a soul. I don't care about anything. I'll destroy them. And I think a lot of America, that's if they're not nice to me. If they're nice to me, we'll have a great family. But if they're not nice to me, they're going to realize you might be able to ruin an NBA player or a rapper. But when you're messing with the most powerful man on earth, I'll destroy you. I'll have them all. And I'll start with that mom, that pimp mom, just to make an example of her. And then I'll move on to OJ's daughter, the tall one. And, you know, and then they'll see. And that'll probably get Kim in line once she sees her mom begging for change and OJ's daughter, doing God knows what. Kim will probably say, Sir, I didn't realize that you could destroy the Kardashian curse, sir.
I'm not saying that they're going to destroy you. What I'm trying to say is that they're such media whores would that be too much for you? I mean, any way to get in the spotlight, they do. And you're like that also, but it comes to just your words, and like you're not going to use a product of someone else to get into the spotlight. It's going to be your product.
Let
So
me ask you a question.
yes,
Who would you trust to have the power? The media whore or the media pimp?
definitely media pimp.
Thank you.
And
And
keep in
I am
mind,
a media pimp.
Mr. Trump loves the media and whores. So I don't know why either one of those would be a turnoff to him.
Right. It's like, oh, you mean you like chocolate and you like peanut butter? Well, sir, you wouldn't like Reese's peanut butter cups then, sir.
Right.
So you're
I mean,
saying,
tech stuff. I mean, tech stuff. We're talking to the agency. I don't know if we're going to renew your contract.
Mr. President, you would not want to be in the spotlight for someone else's products, right? It would only have to be, it has to be your,
Anything that features Mr. Trump becomes his product.
but you'd have to have your name on it. I'm saying the Kardashians, they will run ads on social media for anyone's products who would give them money. So they're going to try to involve you in to get money, but it's not going to be your products. You would have a problem with that.
Do you think I'm going to be tweeting out things or putting things on Parler that
No.
I don't want to?
But how about if they want you to be in their ads with them because you're this power couple now?
No. That's what Kim gets. She gets no.
Okay.
I'm not saying I won't do things, but I'm not doing anything I don't want to.
So is it possible Kim Trump relationship in the future?
I think there's a strong chance. Also, I kind of like which is the one that got all the surgeries to look like Kim, who's a lot younger?
Kylie Jenner.
Kylie. Kylie, I think I might, you know what? Here's what I would do probably. I think I would ask Kim out. And once I get to see the family, I would then start to sort of talk to Kylie and create a jealousy between the two hottest of the Kardashian women. And then I would just pick whoever wins the fight.
It's not a bad strategy. And I think the younger sisters are definitely an upgrade over Kim anyway. So you're a smart man, Mr. President.
What are you gonna do dealing with all those black baby daddies? Because they got a bunch of them over there.
I'm pretty. If I know African Americans well, I don't think we're ever going to see them again.
Jesus. But Kanye doesn't intimidate you at all.
Kanye is going to be in Wyoming doing some sort of weird gospel hedonistic choir thing.
All right. Mr. President, the last piece of news I have for you today. This is shocking that this just came out. It was someone who worked for you spilled the beans that you offered Kim Jong-un.
It's Black History Month. It's called Spilling the Tea.
Okay. Someone spilled the tea.
No, you know what? It doesn't sound right when you say it, right, Rob?
How about spilling the red beans and rice?
Okay, there we go. Someone spilled the red beans and rice, Mr. President, that you offered Kim Jong-un a ride home on Air Force One after the second summit. Is that true, and why?
Yes, because he's a great friend.
He needed a ride. You can't give friends a ride. Was that a crime now?
He is a murderer. Why are you giving a murderer a ride home? Is that a second bout of COVID right there?
No, we're totally okay. What I was going to say is, and you got me a little upset because I don't like when people talk trash about my great friends, whether it's Sir Jeffrey Epstein or the great Kim Jong-un. No, I think Rod said it perfectly. You remember TLC? Remember those little three
Mm-hmm.
women?
Waterfalls. Yep, I remember that.
No, you know what? It's called "What About Your Friend." You know, if you see the text stuff, Rod.
Hmm.
You see him going to the wrong song. He's like, "Creep." No, not creep. It's called "What About Your Friends." Okay, and I'm a very loyal person, not to you, but to real friends. And Kim Jong wanted a ride, and I said, "Of course." And he said, "Also, I will bring 6 very strong Russian hookers with me for the ride." And I said, "Okay, that's in billionaire talk. That's like when somebody offers to pay gas money if you give them a ride. Well, at our level, it's like, he said to me, I'm doing this is, by the way, an accurate impression. Okay. And yeah, I don't want the PC left turning this into something, but he said, "If you bring me back to my country, I bring whores." And I said, "Okay, let's do it."
Why is he so aggressive when he speaks to you?
What do you mean?
Like,
Why is it's?
he seems like he wants to hurt you.
You just called him a killer, and now you're asking why is he aggressive? That's how he is. It's called his personality. I respect it. He's a tough, aggressive killer, and that's why we get along.
And then when he was on the plane, he was another TLC song, Scrubs, because he was on the passenger side of his best friend's ride, trying to holler at Russian hookers.
Exactly.
How does he have access to Russian hookers when he's in North Korea? Does he have like a bullpen?
You know what?
I thought they would be North Korean hookers.
No, he has some talented. I'm not disrespecting his people. He certainly has some talented, attractive North Korean hookers. But anybody, obviously, you're not a billionaire. Anybody who's of great wealth in this world, though, knows that the premium on the Western Hemisphere, the premium women are in Brazil, and the premium, but worldwide, it's Russia.
Okay, I didn't. Thank you for teaching me. I didn't know. Thank you for the education, the hooker education. Thank you. So you gave him the ride home.
That I won't comment on. Your first question was, did I offer the ride? And I said yes. But because I know my wife, Menopause, is a very strong listener of the show, darling, it was just a normal ride home. And when you asked me what that smell was, and I said we went diving into a sushi playpen, that's all it was.
Catered sushi on the flight. Mr. President, thank you so much, of course, for donating your time for another week. We really appreciate it, and sharing all your wisdom on the news.
You brought up Jeffrey Epstein, and I know
It's sir. It's Rod. It's
Sir
sir.
Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah.
All right, no disrespect. I know it gets a little emotional when he comes up. Did you hear that Ghislaine Maxwell is now saying that there's tapes of you and former President Clinton somewhere around?
Like musical tapes?
She said tapes with girls. She didn't say exactly what was on the tapes, just that they were with girls.
Oh, interesting. No, I was not aware of that, but I might have. We might have to have, as you know, corrections officers, a very strong pro-Trump, sort of a pro-Trump group. So I think we may have to just see if some of our pro-Trump corrections officers for Trump might want to, just visit Ghislaine and ask her, if her memory is correct, and if, just nicely, very nicely, very respectfully, and very nicely ask her if she, wants to continue living, so we'll see.
Very,
But thank you.
very peacefully, the way that people went to the Capitol.
Well, exactly. Patriotic. Our corrections officers for Trump will ask her very patriotically and peacefully if she enjoys breathing. And, and we should find, because I think if she has tapes, we should know, of course. I know there's no tapes of me, but, if she's saying that, maybe we should look into it. very strongly. So thank you for bringing that up. I appreciate that.
Anytime.
Rod, thank you for coming on this week. Really appreciate it, and thanks for filling in the past. Everyone can check out your podcast, The Black Guy Who Tips. Can everybody tell everybody where to find it?
Yeah, it's exclusively on Spotify. So if you have Spotify, check us out, and appreciate y'all for having me on. And make sure y'all check out President Trump at CPAC coming up.
Also, check out betonline.ag for all your gambling needs, and patreon.com/MPGA, whatever level is good for you. Mr. President, any parting words for the listeners?
Thank you to Rod. And I will tell you this right now. Hey guys, it's JL. Just kidding. I'm going to say this in my own voice. Thank you, Rod, for being here. Rod, for those who are fans of Rod, you know that he and his wife, their podcast, were a huge boost to my career. So we're very happy to have him on. And be sure to check his show out. I listen every day, well, 5 days a week, I should say.
Thank you.
And other than that, nothing really to say other than Righteous PK is back this week. My podcast as myself. So that's back. And, I'll be putting out some more videos this week, etc. So that's it for me on a personal level. And as Jay has already said,
I said it before we started recording, but just if you're a fan of this show and you're not like, you don't have JL's albums, you're fucking up. They're so good, y'all. And I was in my car the other day and just hit play on my phone by accident, and it randomly just played something that I bought off of iTunes, and I bought all of JL's albums, obviously, and it just played some random tracks. And I mean, the guy's a genius. So I hope that you're not just limiting yourself to the Trump impression and then going back to like, all right, that was it. The Trump impression is great. It's the best Trump impression I've ever heard, but just in his own right as a stand-up, JL is so damn funny, and you're really doing yourself a disservice. It's not him begging you to go listen to his albums. It's doing you the favor of entertaining you even more. So
the Venmo has gone through, Rod. So thank you for that. Well, I appreciate that very much. So I guess I'll leave it on that high note. So thank you, everybody, for listening. Be sure to give us, if you haven't yet, if you're a listener of this podcast, the one thing that should be an absolute requirement is give us a nice review on Apple Podcasts. That's like, without making any other requests of your time or money, at least do that. So thank you for listening, everybody. Thank you for being here, Rod, and God help us all.